98.5 FM, True Talk Radio. Get the facts, get True Talk. 98.5 FM, True Talk Radio. Get the facts, get True Talk. 98.5 FM, True Talk Radio. Get the facts, get True Talk. .5 FM, True Talk Radio. Get the facts, get True Talk.
Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a major employer of our citizens. But are we truly maximizing its potential benefits?
When they assure state participation, I think it's important for the country to know the state participation in the mining sector. We know what we have. This country has so many resources. And without the mine since 1933, we exclude.
Join us this Sunday as we talk about the mining sector in Sierra Leone, the agreements, tax waivers, contribution to our economy, and what the government is doing so that Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans benefit more. True Talk. Get your facts. Get True Talk. Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a major employer of our citizens. But are we truly maximizing its potential benefits?
When they assure state participation, I think it's important for the country to know the state participation in the mining sector. We know what we have. This country has so many resources. And without the mine since 1933, we exclude.
Join us this Sunday as we talk about the mining sector in Sierra Leone, the agreements, tax waivers, contribution to our economy, and what the government is doing so that Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans benefit more. True Talk. Get your facts. Get True Talk.
Me de bring am to una. My name na Baimba Kamara. Today we did delve into one of the most strategic sectors within inside Sierra Leone's economy, when the mining sector. For years we don't rely on the mining sector for make we get the most out of them and for help for foster development. But the question they grab, we really don't get much out of the mining sector as we've been supposed to forget or as people them expect. For help for uncover them thoughts them yana we aid, are they with two important personalities them like. The first person we are get with we na Mr. Daniel Gbondo. Mr. Gbondo na a barrister and solicitor of the High Court, now also a consultant for the Minerals Policy Advisor at the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources. He also don't serve as the Natural Resource Management Advisor to the Chief of Staff in the Office of the President, Sierra Leone. He also don't work as the Resident Senior Program Officer of the National Democratic Institute. This person also don't work as the country representative of the US-based Foundation for Environmental Security and Sustainability, where they support mining communities them inside Sierra Leone. And been also involved in the formulation of the Mines and Minerals Development Act of 2023 inside Sierra Leone. I would like to welcome Mr. Daniel Gbondo.
Thank you very much. I'm happy for the night.
And also the next person where we get, the next personality where we get for today's program, we been on CM last week, and now somebody where they inside the academic field and an expert in economic activities them and economics. Now somebody, as we been mentioned, we've been done lecturing at the University of Massachusetts for 4 years, and after that they currently they lecture as a professor na University of Maryland. Now, no other person but Dr. Stephen Adams. Doctor, you're welcome there.
Yes, thank you very much. Even though my young resume not as long as mine. Thank you very much. I'm happy for there as well.
Alright. So then two personalities here get for make with the then get for provide them thoughts as we did discuss about how important the mining sector they in Sierra Leone. Thankfully, both of them get various perspectives and we then get for come off come as we did discuss. One gets enough experience inside economics, and the other one, well, and gets enough experience inside mining and minerals business. Like we don't hear from both their resume. So the first two saloon, but before we they come here, both them thoughts them. I want to fumble them members say we've been interviewed the Minister of Finance. Himself been giving inputs them, and from time to time we get for go the court and go here waiting him being say, and then to find personalities there go add them perspective to waiting them feel, but waiting the minister say and waiting at their own inputs. So let we cut to the minister in your own excerpt from waiting we be interviewing.
Sector and of Wednesday. Now there you do the fastest mobilization of own resources where you be able to invest for deliver this plan. I'll give you an example. 2023 alone, we export $1.16 billion from the mining sector. $1.16 billion from the mining sector.
About 20%.
Of the budget, of the GDP. Yes. Okay? And that's only exports. Well, that is not the exports from agriculture. Even when we do agriculture for export, especially in areas like cocoa, but also largely. But mining should be our mainstay. And it is mining because I know that this country is sitting on the current concessions that we will give out. Is over $1 trillion worth of resources.
So how about sustainability vis-a-vis agriculture?
No, I'm coming. For you to invest in agriculture, you need resources. It's not by handouts.
Yeah.
Agriculture is a very capital intensive activity. When you develop the land, you have to irrigate the land. You have to invest in technology, which is seedlings, but you also have to invest in the techniques, the machinery for the one, okay, mechanized form, but also you have to process and package and able to get the real resource from it. You don't do it by dreaming. You do it with money, okay? And you cannot, and so for that you have to find the source of that money. And as far as we're concerned, for a state like this, you need to harness the reasonable area for getting. That's why we're not able to change agriculture in the way we should. We're not going to build the infrastructure at the scale we should because we are doing it on small own source resources, which are taxes likely. And we not harness the opportunities in the non-tax sources when we real economic resources. And I'm saying that it is if we harness our minds very effectively, this development plan can be transformed, can transform this country because then we're able to mobilize the resources for really invest and make that which will get inside the big five will put inside the government can take equity participation of up to 35%. That's where it stops. The current structure of the mines has only got private people participating. Fine, it's good. They are bringing FDI, they are investing.
Come back, so we don't hear waiting the minister being talk about the importance we the mining industry they play inside Sierra Leone's economy. Quick one to Mr. Gbondo. So, waiting at the current status of the mining industry in Asalun in terms of agreements and declining revenue or increasing revenue. Waiting at the current status.
Mining, as the minister say, is really very critical to the economy of Sierra Leone. We get expansion of mining activities and mining operations now areas where we not been previously known for mining. Growing up in Sierra Leone and as a native of Kono, as a boy, now diamond mining no more really think about, then the Ribo Sierra Rutile, and then Sironko, we now have Vimetco. Before some of we get sense, there could not be there anymore. The iron ore mines in Marampa. But today we get iron ore mining going on. You get former African minerals. We go to Shandong, then go to Kingo, and now we talk about Leon Rock. And you get SL mining. We don't translate into Marampa mines. Then you get large scale gold mining operation. They go on. Former Wongong. We then get Lion, whatever the new name be. Then you get Baumau, the FG Gold, now Baumau in Bo District, Valonia Chiefdom going on. So we get like two large scale gold mining company. We get Mea, we get Kwaidu Limited. Then they do underground mining and Sierra Diamonds Natongo. Mea they come out Kwaidu Limited, they Kwaidu. Then of course Sierra Rutile continue for mine Rutile. Then you get former Sironko going on Vimetco, they own. But apart from the large scale mining, you get small scale miners then, you get artisanal miners then as well. They go. So yes, mining really they contribute to the economy in great detail. The last time we checked, it was about 13% of the GDP. Now mining they contribute. But the thing is, we not just they look at mining from the export value of the minerals. They also they look at employment, for example, where it create. They look at supporting downstream activities, businesses they grow, right, where they support the mining sector. They look at revenues where they come into government. They look at revenues where they go to mining communities. Then say the new Mines and Minerals Development Act increase the revenues where for go to mining communities from 0.01% to minimum of 1%. So it means any revenue, and this is not a profit, that has to be understood. Revenues where any mining, large scale and small scale mining company generate, minimum of 1% of that revenue they go. The economists then will tell you, so when they say the revenue, now the total amount of money they get, whether they loss or they not make profit or it no matter. Now the total amount of money where they get, now that money they go under. If then, so it means whether you make profit, you don't make profit, the community is then bound for get money once you make money. So if you make $1 million, 1% of that $1 million minimum supposed to go to the community. Whether that $1 million offset your capital expenditure, no, it no count. So communities are not a loss in that regard. So in a way, you get both macro and micro benefits where they come. At the national level, government they get money. At the local level, communities then they get money. And employment, then they create employment, contracting, logistics, for example. So the mining sector get different avenues through which Sierra Leone they get money. So it's a critical sector for we country, one of the biggest, if not the biggest. Now we are waiting the Minister of Finance in budget for Talek, because from the Minister of Finance in budget you will get a sense of the contribution with the mining sector they continue to make to Sierra Leone economy.
Before we go over to Doctor, I go on here more on the revenue where you say from 0.1% to 1%, the revenue of the mining companies, then and they go to the communities, then how then they manage these funds?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a very good system don't be put in place. So at the community level, we get within them called community development committees. Okay. The mining law, the Mines and Minerals Development Act clearly spell out who that they form that committee there. So you actually get two chairpersons, one appointed by the community, then one by the mining company itself, right? Okay. Then you get the development planning officer of the local council, whose either community development agreement don't be signed, now a member of the committee. The reason why in the day now for make sure say either the district development plan or the city development plan of that locality is captured in the implementation or the application of funds or utilization of funds where they come through the CDF framework. Yeah, so that the intention now for make sure say there is funds from the mining sector where they finance the development plans of then districts then they or then chiefdoms then they outside the mining they come out, so that people then will begin to see the direct benefit of mining. You know, the complaint has always been people that know they get benefit from mining. And the reason is been simple, because all the revenues generated from the mining sector they go now the consolidated revenue fund, then at the government in your revenue. Now from the government they take for spend money all over the country. So for example, if they use mining money for build hospital na Freetown or for provide medicines na Cottage, the people in Akono, they're not able to see that one day, see that the mining money and I don't provide that in the na Cottage. But when the mining money provide hospital for the people outside the mining they go on, then they will begin see the benefit of the mining. When they make road with mining money outside the mining community, they go on, people then go begin see the benefit. But if they say, oh, we don't raise $50 million, but that $50 million they would apply for make the road between Freetown and Balamuya, right? Me uncle in a village na Gandon, you're not able to understand waiting at the link. At the end of the day, now in land they be mined. At the end of the day, they live with the environmental and social impact were inherent in mining activities. So it need for city benefit. So government put in place the community development agreement, wherein revenues from the mining sector they go directly to them communities for address the developmental needs of them. So that's how we begin to see the benefits from the mining the minerals within our country.
All right, and thank you very much. Doctor, you know I waiting say on the strategic role we mining they play inside the economy. I don't know, you get a perspective for that?
Yeah, probably a question I got because I'm not the expert. So the question I got for ask about. Okay. But yes, according to the minister, mining is supposed to be the mainstay of the economy. Mm-hmm. But we also know say there exists what they call resource cost in English.
Which in English?
60% of almost all mining communities they poor. Mm-hmm. They're not can benefit from the revenues the way they come. Mm-hmm. And there are other disadvantages of making mining the mainstay. Mm-hmm. One, they can make will not really focus on diversify your economic base. They get that tendency for picking the noble school self. Like how they say, wait, if you did a mining area, because the mining industry don't need that too much of education in a quick box. Most people end up for good, they not end up for land. So we also sacrifice the future nation's growth prospect. So I want to ask the experts back there. You think you agree with the minister say the mining sector for be with mainstay, or for try for balance somehow a little bit with agriculture, with other things?
I still strongly feel say mining can be with mainstay, but I agree with you that we need for diversify. But so we can take advantage of the revenues where minerals they generate, because they generate plenty money, right? And use that revenue day for support other sectors of the economy. Maybe that not the problem. We fail for use revenues from the mining sector for enhance the other sectors of the economy. So when you get, and that the reason, in fact, we in 2016, the three funds that we've been talking about before this program start didn't come up. How can we use mineral revenues for transformational development projects, right? Exclusively and not consumption. You know, I remember I go one training one time at Oxford where Professor Collier, they talk about consumption and investment. That if the revenues we they generate now for deploying upon recurrent expenditures, that is not investment. For example, payment of salaries. You increase salary because you mining money don't come up. You say, oh, now we increase the civil servants their salary. Oh, now we buy more motor car than for government officials, right? So you spend more money than you make. So what do we need for do now for use the revenues from the mining sector for support other sectors of the economy? Agriculture is the way to go. Now, for make we do that, the minister did say, and I completely agree with him, that it's a capital intensive sector where people don't even understand. Yeah. Agriculture is farmers are not poor people. And you're not going to be a poor man, you go into farming way for profit you. You go get your hand to mouth, but you're not able to become profitable. Yes. You live in the United States of America, you know it in and the mix. Even in Sierra Leone, yeah. So we can apply with mineral revenues for support with agriculture sector. We can apply with mineral revenues for support with transport sector, or for support with energy sector or tourism sector, and that way they will be able to diversify. Now we talk about resource costs. Sierra Leone will not get resource costs. Resource costs basically now where you drive all your development agenda into one particular sector and kill the other sectors. So for example, when you train your people, you just train them for the mining sector and not for other sectors. So at the end of the day, when mining go, then people and they all don't go to waste.
Country bankrupt.
That is the point. So here we don't have that, right? Waiting we need for do now for let we make sure say we able for apply with mining revenues for support other sectors of the economy.
Yeah,
quickly, let me interject on something, Doctor. You mentioned something around the Dutch disease and around the resource cost. I think farm will maybe we go get to your audience then with the listen. You not think so you go don't interchange the Dutch disease and the resource cost. Ideally, that's a situation we say it gets natural resources them, but you know the benefits from the natural resources them a poor. Now where it allow in self or in government for concentrate all in spendings them where it gets to a particular natural resources where it gets without diversifying the economy now in the Dutch disease. And I think now it's time for interchange. I don't know you get something to say around and there.
Well, you can argue similar resource cost that not just one cause be explained. Like how you say resource cost can come from several angles. For instance, the fact that we not get control over the prices of what with the mining the minerals all the same. Now a resource cost. Right now, if the price of iron ore go up, let's say the price of metal go up, iron ore price will go up. We gain a lot. But then if the price fall, we lost, there is nothing, a resource cost. So there are several causes of resource cost. Now one, if they explain. What everyone really come to is, I don't know, that minimum 1% is, that's interesting. And the minister mentioned that last year alone, we export 1.13 billion worth of iron ore. So that means to Kolili districts, then local people, they get $13 million.
Oh, absolutely.
What did they do that?
Absolutely. Thank you. There's a question, right? As we talk, about a year or so ago, I get for understand that a community development committee day or a chiefdom day, we get about $250,000. They're not able for spend for over a year. Right? From the CDF, it is inside the CDF, they're able for spend right? Now, So the question is revenue generation and revenue expenditure. And one thing where I think we get problem per, whereas I don't say we get problem per revenue generation, the bigger problem really na revenue expenditure. That day we problem day. I mean, you can get $10,000, right? The other person get $100,000. That person with $10,000 grow down in $10,000, it make $1 million. That person with $100,000, it become broke.
Yes.
Right? Waiting for it if you not get it. Why? Revenue management.
Yes.
So yes, if we export 1.1 billion or 1.33 trillion, yes, that 1%, minimum 1%,
1.13 billion now export in
good.
2022.
So it means 1% of that.
With
Then
$30
are
million.
all them communities then we then do the
And
community development.
this is not eye opener. I think we
agreement.
don't forget a way. I don't know if government maybe don't put a way for monitor because yes, you can pass all the laws. I remember back in 2000s there was this DACDF,
Diamond Area Community Development Fund.
Yes, there's something which is very similar to this, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Same.
It been different a little bit because in the calculation now based on the number of license we the issue within a district. Right, and it was exclusively for diamond.
Yes.
And the whole reason Nabi Pakaba in policy after the war, the diamond area has been destroyed past every other area in the country. I mean, arguably.
But my question is, that fund left anything we go point and say this fund now
absolutely,
do this,
absolutely. I can tell you, for example, one good example I can say in the district, for example. Most of the chiefdom administration structures, infrastructure, we then rebuild. Now build that Diamond Area Community Development Fund. Some of the court barriers we then build. Some of the houses that we then build, right? Some of the maternity that we then build. Some of the roads and bridges we then build. Now the Diamond Area Community Development Fund. Even the CDA, where we they talk about, so you they go to some communities, you they see that they build infrastructure. But let me tell you the problem with the and that make deliberately what we write the Mines and Minerals Development Act of 2023, we say the development planning officer must be a member. That was not the case before. So you find out say the activities where the chiefdoms and they spend the money then they pay in order in sync with the development Quran Bible or Quran of the district, when are the district development plan. And therefore those monies were not applied to what we will call felt needs of the communities then they. So now somebody no more go left sit down, you know what we need for build school. Is the school really needed at that material time comparative to maybe learning and teaching materials that exist in schools? So it is good for build school, you put the infrastructure, but a school not to just the building, now the service where people then they get from them. So maybe maintaining an existing structure, school, by providing learning and teaching materials and probably feeding for the pikin they go, the way go keep them at school, go actually make them learn than for go build school when a good thing for sleep.
Right. Just wait. This conversation very interesting. Let's continue more because this now they affect family directly. The one that we did in the village. We family that we did under now the land that we go take my hand, the hand like how you been say. After we don't left, we left barren land today. We don't know where we used to get from plant anything. Some of them they, because the way we they do the mining. Now what's how they left Guinea.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with all this information, don't come back to talk police, they get 30 million. Why the communities are still very poor?
That is, the management is the problem. Right? The management definitely could be the problem. Right? Because when you get the money, it is what you do with the money.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If you don't apply the money properly, you definitely get to go broke. Right? If you don't put the money to Usai, you think say, or Usai changes for take place. You go ask the same question at the national level. Sierra Leone, they get 3% royalty, no more. 3% royalty for the minerals where will they go. The question will be, why is Sierra Leone still poor?
Sierra Leone as a country.
As a country, why is Sierra Leone still poor? Right? So if you calculate, communities they get a 1%, Sierra Leone as a country they get 3% royalty. Forget about other taxes. right? Where they coming? Why the country still poor? So it's management. That is bottom line.
All right. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I think family really don't learn from the perspectives them who not through. I think you been mentioned figures say we've been make 1.13 billion last year in revenues for mining.
For
No
just
more than the
no,
continent.
just iron ore, not to
Just
mine.
iron
ore.
And interestingly, from the interview we've been doing with the Minister of Finance, he been mentioned say overall from we've been generate above $1 billion inside mining last year no more. And the thing is, out of that money we Sierra Leone make, well, we've been come up from Sierra Leone in mining no more now 2.7% now been go to the government. So it really they raise the question, waiting the Ambogi country from harnessing the outputs them where they come off from the mining sector, good one. And before I throw that perspective there, I want to follow we hear from the minister, quick one.
Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a major employer of our citizens. But are we truly maximizing its potential benefits?
With the actual state participation, I think it's important for the country to know the state participation in the mining sector. We know what we have. This country has so many resources. And without the mine since 1933, we exclude.
Join us this Sunday as we talk about the mining sector in Sierra Leone, the agreements, tax waivers, contribution to our economy, and what the government is doing so that,
as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned. And the quality very important.
Yes.
Even if you know the volume, I'm not sure we'll be able to track the effective volume of where they go. But not only the effective volume, it is what is going out. The quality of what is going out. Because you may be taking iron, but maybe you're taking other things. Because we know minerals they form together. You may be taking other things. So we need to know that. We don't know effectively. They self-assess. They self-report. And then we tax with royalty on that. That's one.
What are the plans for that?
I can come to plans.
Okay.
Second, we get sale for take free carried interest now all large scale mines. Well, that has not been effectively implemented. So we know they sit on the board, we don't understand how their real books then they turn out, and as a result, even the free carried interest, we don't sit down at the treasury in I not see any mining company and say your 10% is what this and we are paying you. Because the company will always bring a plan that they are developing, they are investing. The reason is you don't have people sitting on the board to know exactly what is in their books. That's second. Third, I think another aspect got to do with the concessions they give to the mining companies. The overlay. The miner not they come for mine and say no one pay tax, now they can mine. No. They can mine because they not say they make profit by the mining. So ideally, we will look into the laws and make sure we limit the excessive concessions given to people they can make profitable business. Because they make a decision. At the time when they are not exploring, they are actually mining. Meaning, you don't prove, say, resource daily. Yeah. Okay, so why? It's about you, the company, managing your operational costs very effectively. But not to deny government what is due them in terms of the true taxes that they are supposed to get. Given the fact that we are not even effectively participating in the sector in terms of real production sharing and the like. These are just some of the examples that I can bring as the reason why we get low intake. What's are the plans? The plan for the state are the following in that sector, especially for those who give boost to implementation of the intent.
On that particular question we ask so before I throw the ball to them fine gentlemen here for give them perspective. If you just they join we, the number where you able call or text on for let you able for give you contribution at 072 641 729. I repeat 072 641 729. So Mr. Gbondo, the minister mentioned saying that tax waivers and concessions them to mining companies now a big issue where they stop with from earning more from the mining industry. You feel saying that their agreements them really they ambogui, or you get different perspectives?
Well, I don't know from whose side the minister they come up from. I mean, him being the minister, he get better understanding of the problems with concessions, because the ministry really they approve the concessions, right? But concessions are allowed in the mining sector. Because what they do, then they relax the constraints to development and investment. Not forget, say the minerals that we will not get monopoly over them. Other countries then get them. Other countries then get mining infrastructure well developed than we. For example, electricity, road network, water supply, etc. So the challenges we then go face when they invest in Sierra Leone might not be the same challenges we then go face it in the invest in South Africa. Outside the mining infrastructure really well developed. Yeah, growing up as a boy, NDMC now they make their own road there. We remember we call them dumper line. You know, when they drive the BB trucks there with commercial roads. Today, with the season now we and them BB trucks then they fit in the small road there. If you go to say a route type, you see them BB trucks then they come. You get for park in one corner. You wait for state and can then pass, right? So we they give the concessions then so that they come for reduce the capital expenditure on the companies then, and so that they will be able to operate. But they get money from other way from them. For example, employment. Anytime they employ people, they get for pay PAYE, they get for pay income tax, they get for pay NACIT for Sierra Leone citizens, they get for buy stuff then at this country. So other sectors they get money. So then concessions then they can be targeted. Outside the problem can they now way number one, we not ensure say the concessions are for a period. All over the world, we give concessions are for a period. Sometimes you go say for 3 years, sometimes for 5 years, and sometimes you restrict them to specific goods where they come with into the country. Those goods must be mining related. If you give them blanket concessions, whether in a luxury vehicle that they come with now, then they come with mining vehicles, all get the concessions, then that is the problem. So we need forget with targeted concessions, make sure say whatever we give the waivers them for, not in the way now exclusively for the operations where they get license for do, right? So you in the mining sector, particularly in Sierra Leone and in Africa, I would say most countries in Africa, concession they part of the business, right? The only difference now is that some countries they win, other countries they lost. Now that some countries they restrict them to exclusively you mining equipment and stuff, and now over time, because then they take and say mobilization. When you don't get your license, you get for the mobilization. Mobilization are basically where you bring in your assets. At that time, when you bring in your assets, they expect at least within 3 years, if you don't bring in sufficient assets, we will make you go into production. You understand that? So you not go get concession for 10 years, right? For just bring you assets in. No, that is not allowed. So I think say now that probably the minister they try for talking about.
Alright, Doctor, we come to you.
Let's just add to this concession. If you are going to ask another question, you go ask another question. Waiting me specialist in mining here don't say it don't limit the concession, they understand it don't limit them to imports or import of capital goods. I understand a little bit because I expose a little bit to the concession where the minister they talk about. They go way beyond this.
Yeah, okay.
Then give them concessions on exports as well of the minerals. For instance, Royal Maritime Administration, for let them able to do their work, because now they should be for safety of the sea, right? Yes. For let them able to do their work. Everything with the import or export will therefore pay them some money per ton. So when they sign them concessions here from the Ministry of Mines, without considering, for instance, how transport feel about it or accept that, they go ahead and sign them here. And once they don't sign that, don't deny the Ministry of Transport of revenue.
Yeah.
It's huge revenue. So almost all that, I'm not kidding here, all them tons and tons and tons of iron ore they go out, maritime not they collect anything from them, and they supposed for. That na one. Two, they use port services now. We port there. Even the port winner, the unity, there is a port law here, right? All ports that they come to belong to Sierra Leone Port Authority. But because of their concessions, they will be signed. Then they use their services there. Then they pay for it. And concession actually for beef on tax. Thing with go not to service, you know, and this is a tax is supposed to pay. But if there is a service rendered, at least pay for that service. But their concessions, they are covered them thing there. Most of them mining companies, they don't pay the services there. So I tell you, say, I may read somewhere. If we remove the concessions there on them iron ore mining companies and no more, we will be able to generate enough funds per year for fund 5 ministries per year.
Okay.
So it go beyond you understanding on only the imports. I agree on the imports. Bringing in capital goods, yes, that will encourage you. Let them bring in the capital goods. That will not put anything on there. But the other area where I agree with you, where I mean they go beyond this is, me go want let them concession here. Let we attach to output, to performance. You don't come, you don't get your cost. We know say this is not your cost. We don't give you concession, say you don't get for give me tax on so and so until you hit this amount, because this amount we know say you don't cover your cost there. Beyond that, they begin pay we. Let me do that. Rather than we just give them blind, say don't pay anything, come in. Of course we need them. So for encouraging them for come, yes, in the beginning, we can forgive them concessions here for pushing them a little bit so that they go land well, so that we will reduce their cost. But let me tell them, say, hey, once you don't hit this revenue target, once you don't hit this not just the revenue but the amount of iron ore we the export, once you don't reach this target, beyond this now the concession will stop.
No, well, the concession we are talking about, we will talk about the import.
Yeah, that the imports. Yeah, now because you believe it's
because that one day you'll be able to know at what point you're supposed to mobilize.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? Like waiting you they talk about now maybe on the export side.
Yeah, now on the export side.
You understand that?
And I did more the money.
And I completely agree with you that in some cases where we sign agreements. Now, one sector, we know they take into consideration the impact of the agreement on other sectors.
Yes.
You understand that? So that they create problem in and of itself. And another interesting thing we go note now that even within the mining sector, right? We don't write with Mines and Minerals Development Act, but we get mining lease agreements where companies then they write, where then they enter into with government, separate and distinct from the Mines and Minerals Act and any other act where Parliament don't pass. And guess what? There are clauses where make say if there is anything where any provision where inconsistent with the mining lease agreement of any company, the provision of the mining lease agreement take precedence over the law.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes. So I don't care which tax law we get. If my company I enter into a mining lease agreement with government and my tax in that mining lease agreement is favorable compared to the one where they inside the EIRA, the Extractive Industry Revenue Act, it means now the one way I get in my mining lease agreement now I take precedence over that.
Wait. I understand this in layman point of view.
Oh yes.
We get law.
Yes.
The law say all man for behave so.
Yes.
But now they tell me say if one mining company, one man can.
Yes.
They can't sit with government.
Yes.
They say me and you now so and so we agree on.
Yes.
If what we agree on,
yes.
the contravene what they inside the law.
Yes.
What me and you agree on 9 day hold?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Because waiting we agree on certainly ratify in Parliament.
Yeah.
Right? Then they ratify in Parliament.
Okay.
So that 90 take preeminence.
Well, why we get the law?
That's the big question. So the question is, do we still need to have mining lease agreement? That is the question when MISSF always they ask the question. And there is nothing in the Mines and Minerals Development Act where say there should be mining lease agreements with mining companies. However, the Constitution of Sierra Leone give power to government for enter into development agreement.
Yes.
And we will say development agreement in any sector.
Yes.
So government can rely on that one. And so it is legal that government they enter into agreement with mining companies. But the problem there is that their agreements then they take precedence over the laws that we don't get. And another problem with Dede is that with laws that they go through parliamentary scrutiny, then they go through public scrutiny, then they bring in sometimes civil society for discuss the laws they will pass in parliament. But their agreement here, now they go through the same scrutiny than they. The transparency, there is some amount of just government and the mining company and they do the thing, but it get that kind of impact, right? So this is not a catch-22 situation where probably government need for look at. Probably we need to get mining laws where if we talk about fiscal regime, let we get mining laws where we go say we go discuss everything, we will discuss everything in the mining lease agreement, but not the fiscal. We could discuss everything in the mining lease agreement, but not the environmental protection. For example, some countries now that they do. Other countries they do them in a way wherein they put and say the financial laws of the country is stand.
All right. We get a question for you, Doc. You think say governments for the able for done their waivers, they are better for they able for benefit salon economy?
Yeah, nothing Abi they talk about. Definitely, I mean definitely there are better ways of doing it. One is like how Abi they say, instead of just saying when I come, any export when they export, not pay any of the taxes, then we link to either the revenue whether they raise or to add to the actual cost. So let's say they don't come, let them tell you this is not the cost and cost and cost. So we they tell them so once you don't hit this particular way of we don't give you, it expire. They can't even say let be performance based, let be linked to the revenue whether they pull. Because if you link to time, they will pull they will keep asking and extending. But let me make sure say because again we get for ensure say themselves recover, they are encouraged to come. Therefore make sure they get the incentive for come. And one of the incentives that then we will give them. But let me ensure say a link to the money where they pull. But the minister, one side what I want to go back to, the minister, now the question we'll ask is why salon don't they get more? Because they say we ship out 1.13 billion worth of iron ore. We get only how much 36 million as a government out of that 2.7%.
2.7%.
Yeah, the total revenue. So the question was why is this so small?
I think let me get a perspective here. Within the minister probably they say now the royalty payments. Right, that percentage payments.
Yeah.
9 they talk about. We actually they get more than that. Let we not just focus on the royalty payments, right? We get more on that through a lot of other taxes with the companies that they pay.
But they get more than that.
No. The point is not to everything they waive for them.
Yeah.
For example, they don't waive the community development agreement. And payments, community development, the minimum of 1%.
1%.
You understand?
So
the minimum of that. So the royalty, they know waiver, right? And they know with a lot of other taxes then where they support. They know waive for them PAYE, for example, where they tax where they pay for the staff then. They know waive for them all of GST. When they go buy goods then at supermarket, then they pay GST just like how me and you two they pay GST. So all of those things are not captured from the waivers the way then they get. So let me not just look at the royalty payments where we receive.
So in your view as
yes,
an expert,
I go need for stop you there. We go need for take a break. When we come back, we go need for continue. If you they listen, the number we need for call is 072-641-729, 072-641-729. Let me take a quick break.
Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a major employer of our citizens. But are we truly maximizing its potential benefits?
When they assure state participation, I think it's important for the country to know the state participation in the mining sector. We know what we have. This country has so many resources. And without the mine since 1933,
Join us this Sunday as we talk about the mining sector in Sierra Leone, the agreements, tax waivers, contribution to our economy, and what the government is doing so that Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans benefit more. True Talk. Get your facts. Get True Talk. Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a major employer of our citizens. But are we truly maximizing its potential benefits?
With the assured state participation, I think it's important for the country to know the state participation in the mining sector. We know what we have. This country has so many resources. And without the mine since 1933,
Join us this Sunday as we talk about the mining sector in Sierra Leone, the agreements, tax waivers, contribution to our economy, and what the government is doing so that Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans benefit more. True Talk. Get your facts. Get True Talk. Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a major employer of our citizens. But are we truly maximizing its potential benefits?
with the assured state participation, I think it's important for the country to know the state participation in the mining sector. We know what we have. This country has so many resources. And without the mine since 1933,
Join us this Sunday as we talk about the mining sector in Sierra Leone, the agreements, tax waivers, contribution to our economy, and what the government is doing so that Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans benefit more. True Talk. Get your facts. Get True Talk. Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a
see them na the country, Mr. Gbondo and Dr. Adams. Now we come back to the questions that we've been get. So we want to understand waiting at the government in plan for increased state participation inside mining. And Dr. Adams been happen for interview the Minister of Finance on this question here. Let we hear you waiting the minister being get for say.
as far as I'm concerned. And the quality very important.
Yes.
Even if you know the volume, I'm not sure we'll be able to track the effective volume of where to go. But not only the effective volume, it is what is going out. The quality of what is going out. Because you may
company. So this corporation na entirely government corporation, na government entity, and whatever assets they put inside it for manage, then they manage them for and on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone. So basically, they get right for operate a mining company, just like how we get a mining company they operate right now. Then said they bring money, then they invest them in the mining operations. Then said export minerals, then sell the minerals, and the money come into the corporation, right? And that through that corporation they go establish what they call a project company. That project company really not the operational arm. Now that project company in the 90 get the mining companies where they come in for run, and then they will get a management service agency where they run the project company on behalf of government. So basically what we are saying is government now, instead of just waiting for get royalty from private mining operation, government self they do the mining, though the way that they do the mining is different. Not so like government as in government officials they do them, but it run down there as a business. Because I think the waiting government no one for do, we all know that in any institution where government one run 100% and not run them as a business, a lot of other factors that they come in. Inefficiency they come in, ineffectiveness they come in, politics they mix pan them, we go get the right people for maybe and run them. In this particular case, government want for run this as a business, and where they generate an income and government make money. And that money they now go into what they call the mineral wealth fund. That mineral wealth fund they government go able for use for finance transformation and development projects.
And interestingly, I'm glad you say you don't come to this topic. Before we come to doctor, the minister been say how we go able to bring more money inside the treasury for set up a private company for harness resources from the mining sector, where in called the Mineral Wealth Fund, just like what you don't mention. So, I want we understand more about what the minister been say about the Mineral Wealth Fund before I throw the bone to owner for let we discuss them. Let we hear what the minister been say.
With all the mine since 1933.
We explain the state participation a little bit.
Yes. So state participation means this government now established by law the corporation, when are the Sierra Leone Mines and Mineral Development Management Corporation. This corporation, the law and the power for established, and the corporation is managed by a board, statutory board of appointed ministers. Finance, mines, lands, environment, the Attorney General, and then the Governor of the Central Bank. These people then, they are critical people who are important in that space. Then they oversee government in interest for ensure say that particular vision be implemented effectively. Inside the law, the act will establish the corporation, they give the power for set up a project company. Okay, yeah. So that project company now we call the Mineral Wealth Fund. The Mineral Wealth Fund, the intent now for manage the financial and commercial interests of the government in the mining sector. Okay, in the mining sector. And what that mean is that through the corporation now not affect anybody who will get mining license, large scale mining license in the country at all. In the one. It respects the agreement, it respects the license and the concessions that we can get. The only thing the government will do, the 10% carried interest, government they put it inside this fund. The fund is done at the board of then company here, then big company there. And then when the fund operates properly, it can increase government participation in their company. Most of the companies the way they operate now, they get interest from the government still inside the operation for back then as well. Yeah. So we make sure say the fund get that. Not importantly, we identify mining concessions then. In precious, because we also get gold plenty in this country. People in the mine, but we don't say we don't begin with industrial mining in gold. Government sets up they take some gold concession inside the fund. We also get critical minerals.
You mean government sets up for mining?
Government they set up a company.
Yes.
Okay. The company they enter joint ventures, okay, with other companies for mine, and government they share in the production resources. That's how you bring money into the treasury. Bigger. This thing of having only private taking and we are getting 2.5%, 2%, 2.7%, it should not be the case. We will remain poor like this forever in generation if we don't change this narrative. This narrative must change. And through President Bill envision this. He said he will give back to the people of this country. And he will say that the mining sector, that transformation will take place. For like him, for do all them big 5 things here and money you can forget. And the only way you get money, now for harness your own resource where they on the ground. Not so other person can do it for you. The government in entity, when a private entity, because this Mineral Wealth Fund is a company.
Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a major employer of our citizens. But are we truly maximizing its potential benefits?
With the actual state participation, I think it's important for the country to know the state participation in the mining sector. We know what we have. This country has so many resources. And without the mine since 1933.
Join us this Sunday as we talk about the mining sector in Sierra Leone, the agreements, tax waivers, contribution to our economy, and what the government is doing so that Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans benefit more. True Talk. Get your facts. Get True Talk.
On that particular aspect, If you just join we, the number for text and share you input with we na 072 641 729 072 641 729. Doc, I want to start with you from an economic perspective. I mean, you don't lecture for several years, so this is not your specialty. What are the benefits for creating a mineral wealth fund, as the minister been mentioned?
There are many benefits to it. The very first benefit you can think about now, revenue management, basically a stabilization fund. Like how we don't say, prices of the minerals that can go up and down. If the yield can go up and down. 1 year you will get a lot of revenue, when I waste time, the next year nothing, no day, money no day for spend. What is stabilization fund? What the mineral wealth fund they do is they make that into a stabilization fund, which you get a stable income. So the money they come in, if they accumulate, so we're going to plan well and use them well. And now one. Another reason why this is good is mining, we they eat today, but most of the costs, now the one that they come to man and they get for pay. We will damage the environment, we picking the organ for bottom man and they get for pay. Where they can they don't meet nothing, now they get for pay, they cost them. So waiting this stabilization fund can do, it can serve as like how my brother be the call intergenerational fund. Basically, the money day today, they able survive, the day tomorrow, when I put that into uses, we go serve more than one generation. If you do not now with the mine, everything we put in mind, but that money could take for the one that we can, they meet the ground, the land don't destroy them, the way we use them for other things. Another thing again is my colleague be the talking today. You go use this money here for actually diversify the economic base. And we talk about one area where we don't talk about since 1972 when we fold the rail with the railway in this country. Every year we don't talk about then we bring back the railway, then we bring back the railway. Now only through mining we don't get one small one. And the agreements they make, therefore they give money to government. Where I be the advice Minister of Transport. One of the concepts that we are right was that this 1.5 million what they give per year to government. The very first one we use and do feasibility study for how we go rail the entire country. Not just for mining now, not just for the iron ore, but also for road tie. Road tie they will ship a lot. Now the same process that they go through, they put it inside ship, can go out, they transfer, they put it inside barge, can go out, then they transfer. If we can able to connect themselves by rail to the same port here, now plenty things. How we go able to connect places like Kaila Hong Kong or the agricultural belts that they talk about, or even the north. We go able to use that money for decent development things then. So the use is then plenty. We can also use them for they talk about that infrastructure. We use them for big roads, we use them for big hospitals, and then communities then. It also say at least 1% for go to the thing. Now the money you able to take develop the communities then. So it's a good situation. There are several uses for it. How we do them, now the question.
Alright, then Mr. Gbondo, we don't hear from an economic perspective within doctrine gets for say on waiting at the potential benefits them or why find for the we create a mineral wealth fund. From your own perspective in your years and your experience so you don't get inside mining, you think say it wise for we create a mineral wealth fund and how you feel say this could support your economy? I mean waiting at your own perspective generally on this?
I think say we will really need for change course on how we manage the mineral sector. Not only the operational side, not only the production side, but waiting we do with the money. Right. I listen to waiting the minister when they say that you get the mineral wealth fund when at the project company. When I look at the mineral wealth fund websites, they don't call them the project company. They call them something else.
Diction matter?
It does. In law, it does. Because the Mines and Minerals Development Cooperation Act and Management Cooperation Act, they talk about a project company or another legal entity. If you give me just 1 minute, make I open the act. It say the section 14, subsection 1 of the act say for the purposes of attaining the object of the corporation under section 13 of the corporation may a establish and maintain in accordance with the laws of Sierra Leone a project company or other legal entity, including partnerships and limited liability companies, that is organized or operated for the profit or benefit of its shareholders or other owners. I don't want to give legal analysis to this, but if I do give legal analysis to this, I'll be worried by the alternative of a legal entity where this law not talk anything about. The law talk about, when you go to section 14, section 15, now they flesh out a lot about the project company. However, coming to the Mineral Wealth Fund, the Mineral Wealth Fund captures revenues from mining activities conducted in the name of the corporation. That is how I see the Mineral Wealth Fund. So the revenues will be generated by the corporation goes into the Mineral Wealth Fund, and that Mineral Wealth Fund is now applied for projects that you talk about. So, for example, it is a fund in and of itself. It is, to my mind, it is not a company in itself. It is a fund.
That fund, yes.
Just like where you get the road management fund.
Yes.
You understand? A lot of money, then the way they go into that fund. You can to the CDF, right? The Community Development Fund. They come off from the CDA agreement. So it is a fund. Management of that fund is separate and distinct from the entity where really they bring the money into the fund. These are separate and distinct. The project company is supposed to raise money and put money into the Mineral Wealth Fund, and the Mineral Wealth Fund now can apply that money for stabilization, for example, for intergenerational expenditures, for example. And let me not forget that the Public Financial Management Act of 2016 creates 3 different funds. It creates the Transformational Development Fund, it creates the Stabilization Fund, it creates the Intergenerational Fund. So maybe the thinking around here is all of them 3 funds then they don't merge into the Mineral Wealth Fund, which is great, right? It is great because it gives you a different perspective to how we manage with minerals. As you been rightly say, the time where they construct the, make I just give a quick digress, but support the point we they make. The time when they construct the railway, that railway was not constructed as a multi-purpose or a multi-user infrastructure. It was exclusively for the mining sector. That is where they got it wrong. Right? We cannot use it for civilian transportation right now. So we need for improve on them, get a narrow gauge and rail, so we can't use it for that. So I completely agree with you. Whatever money they generate, we suppose for now begin think beyond the mining sector. How can we leverage mining infrastructure for support economic development in the agriculture sector? Build a railroad in the agriculture belt from Kailan district through Kono district, can to Freetown. From Pujan district through Bo district, Moyamba district, can to Freetown. And not only think about that, if we look at sub-regional minerals management, for example, the Simandu iron ore project, we now the largest iron ore project arguably in Africa, right? They're so far from Conakry, where if we had a railroad from the Simandu, we can able connect to reports now and the export. So from Usade Simandu deposits then they to Conakry, a far pass from Simandu to Buchanan Port in Liberia, or from Simandu to Queen Elizabeth Port here in Freetown. So at the time when I've been in a Ministry of Mines, we did get conversation, we really work with the MRU and see how we can able to do that. However, coming back to this state participation where the minister they talk about, I think it is something we long overdue. I mean, you cannot keep doing the wrong things and you expect a different result, right? We want to get it right, and I completely agree with him that we need the state for making it participate. It's different. I know whenever you say state participation, people they think about NDMC. NDMC have been government owned, 51% government owned, 49% later it owned, right? But the difference here now, we did not have what we call a Mineral Wealth Fund. We did not have a management body separate and distinct from the corporation. The corporation, National Diamond Mining Corporation. Now, they do the mining, now they do the processing, and they do the production, now they do the generation of money, they just put under the CRF. The CRF, the government spend how they want for spend. This one is different. It's different because the entities them way involved, they're separate and distinct from each other, and then try for make them, particularly the business side of things, not political. For me, that is my optimism. That is where I get my optimism that it can be different from what happened with the NDMC because of the reasons that
I agree with you that for the fact that separation, they improve accountability, right?
There you
because you will defend the money, not to you the spender.
Exactly.
You defend the money, you give somebody else that was in charge of spending it. So that element of transparency and accountability actually involved in this one much more than probably the previous one.
The NDMC one.
For example. We not ever work.
Yes.
The only thing I want to ask you as a follow-up to what you say. So the minister clearly said it's not going to affect the existing contracts that we then get, the existing mining there.
Yes.
And we know say then I can pay some surface rent. So this surface rent not going to go into this fund because you say the fund is about waiting the corporation raise. So how about the one that with the outside the corporation right now?
Okay.
Then they go into that fund?
Okay. So now government therefore make a decision on that one because they want the way they get a mining license right now. They get for continue for operate. They get for continue for generate money. They get for continue for pay the taxes that them plans pay to government. Government can make the decision, say all revenues from large scale mining operations for go to the mineral wealth fund. All revenues from the small scale mining companies can go into the CRF. Right? Government can make that decision. But talking about surface rent not really not to government they come to. Surface rent they go to the community.
3% rent.
Okay, that royalty.
Yes.
No. They get for continue for pay them royalty. They get for continue for pay whatever taxes we applicable. Government just need for make a decision now. Who side that money they for go? If you get for going to the mineral wealth fund or it go because the corporation still when you look at the function of the corporation is so broad, but actually it give me. It raised other concerns than then this concern here. For example, you talk about the powers of the corporation, right? It really huge, and I see some duplicity in the functions of the Ministry of Mines and that of the Ministry of the Corporation and the Ministry of Finance.
So this corporation, what's like house? Is it in the Finance Ministry?
No, house in the Finance Ministry. You get the whole secretariat. You get the executive director, but the board, the Minister of Finance and the chair of the board. But you get an executive director, you get in staff deputy executive director, you get other directorates in that corporation where they for advise the board. But the board now the supervisory body of the corporation.
Like they say the powers then actually maybe they read the act some time ago. The powers then they get immense power. One of the mandates that they get actually they get for own not just in the mining deposits, but they can also own the infrastructure. For instance, this railroad we talk about and the associated ports, that's going to go to them. And they get for owner actually.
Okay. Well, yes, absolutely. Anything where the corporation identify, right? Say this particular asset they go inside the SPV, the special purpose vehicle, and they get for owner and they get for manager for the benefit of government, right, and the people of this country. My concern with that is a sort of impact the provisions of the Mines and Minerals Development Act, in the sense that the Mines and Minerals Development Act, when at the principal mining legislation, get in ways through which companies then forget their licensing. Their license and how then they operate and the agencies that we're responsible for regulate them. What is not clear here is whether the companies will therefore operate under this corporation, therefore subject themselves under the provisions of the Mines and Minerals Development Act of the National Minerals Agency, when are the regulator of the Environmental Protection Agency, we responsible for environmental protection, etc. And you know, there are like if you read section 13 and section 14D of the corporation, and you go to section 15, it raises some red flags where government need for look at seriously. Say for example, the management of this 10%. Yeah, now we say companies that begin pay this 10% free carried interest. the corporation at section 15B, they say if we manage the commercial interest of the corporation in the mineral sector, and it also refer to assets them we go don't get, and refer to section 161 of the Mines and Minerals Development Act, subsection 1 of the Mines and Minerals Development Act. We say government forget that one. But when you go into subsection 2 of that act, it tells you how they for manage the 10% stake. So there are some gray areas where I think say government really need for look at, so that they will be able to harmonize then different laws like that. But broadly, the Mineral Wealth Fund, this corporation where they established, I think it is long overdue. For me, if we manage them very well, it will be waiting, I will call a game changer in the mining sector as far as management of mineral revenues concerned and beneficiation concerned.
Alright, so I'm really happy on the perspective the one I don't provide on Monday. Let we go for one last perspective. From all what we done the area, how we go able to add value to we minerals them for make it attractive internationally. I think I want to hear from the minister being referred to this particular one as beneficiation. Now he refer to this one here. So let we hear in perspective on them before I can hear it from on. Okay.
So the intent of so that don't begin happens now with the existing mining companies. I know say King Ho,
Manampa mines, and also they do a little bit of
they do beneficiation.
Yes.
But the beneficiation are basically for make you up the value and quality of the ore.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. They welcome to they get I think 65 FE content.
Yes.
Okay. It's the same thing, that's all they do.
Yes.
So it's still raw.
It still does. What we say
It's still raw ore.
Yeah.
But now prime ore where they go.
Yeah.
Ideally you for the create so Q1, like I said, Leon Rock, self they create beneficiation plants because the quality of the ore is about 30 something. So you need for process them, let the ore quality come to higher value. Yeah. And then you get more premium price in the market. But I've not said they get plan for go into beneficiation, beyond beneficiation into what we call value addition. So you create what we call industrial hubs. Now, I know about iron ore a little bit because I don't see steel industries abroad. I don't see steel industries abroad. Sierra Leoneans should not encourage. Madapio recently gave orders that any company will they sign with now going forward will begin add value in this country, especially in the mining space. So the opportunity in the mineral wealth fund will begin with that. Yeah, that because that's one we are starting afresh. So we'll go into an integrated agreement with whoever with a JV that it's not only about selling, but it is about adding value here. Iron, 9 they take for make steel. Yeah. Steel, now the foundational, how do I call it? Material for build railway, for build any big building, for do bridges, for make motor car, anything where the world they take for develop, still a foundational piece. We get our plenty in this country. Yeah, we should not be selling our raw materials. No. But let me tell you the critical issue why we're not selling raw material. Just like that, because in the structures of the formation of minerals, you know the geologists, but we don't tell we plenty. They form together. Okay. Yeah. In this country, we say iron or the gold lady. We say iron or the lithium lady. That's what they form. If they can't all go when they go out, then we'll not get separation plants. When they go separate, then they pull gold, then they pull lithium, then they pull the iron, then they pull coltan, then they pull tantalum, then they pull niobium. Then they pull all that, and then they separate, all get different prices.
And we get paid for only the iron.
Oh, thank you. So this game for change, the game for change, and the reason why the president, not institute say, in that space there, we forgot technology for begin the access. In fact, now enemy, and then because I did the engineer, the geologist, and then they go begin the access waiting with the left in this country. So that at least if the royalties will get safe, that 3% not only on iron, it will be 3% on gold, 3%.
minister being gets for say on how we go able for add value to the minerals them we get. So let us come to these fine gentlemen them. Let we start with you, Doc. What you feel say we need for do for let we able add value to we minerals them?
Yeah, so as we dey talk, as my brother be called beneficiation, I get a text message from one of my young listeners that where they ask me what thing beneficiation mean. So for the break it down a little bit. So basically, this are just we don't remove the raw ore from the ground. We process and small. We separate the actual mineral we need from the dirty, the ore that we will not need into here. That refinement, that improvement, then a beneficiation. At least we add some value to them before we export it out there. The advantage with that go bring, at the top of both advantages, probably challenges with this as well. The advantage with that go bring is they get a more stable price for another one. Besides the fact that you do and you get for great jobs now, and people that get for the do, it also it increase the value. Because now instead of you send a whole ship full of boku doti where they pay you for small price for, you end up for pay the same transportation cost. Because we don't follow the ship that same transport the cost, you send now something with much more valuable. So your transportation cost per unit will be lower. So you actually gain more economically than we just decide the raw form. What you got to also think about what they think about that here is the maturity of we infrastructure for actually do some of them beneficiation I didn't talk about. Some of them need a lot of energy for doing. I know say Guinea as the world's largest bauxite exporter, they know they send it like how we export bauxite now and that red dot they send Guinea know they send the red dot. They change and it's some what they call alumina, some powder they send but they get the power. We also get for the thing if we yes it's good for talk about the beneficiation, very good, but also get for think about the power. Very good. We are moving towards that the MCC we hear they come for power in the country. Maybe we will get to the point, but it's a good thing.
Alright, now we hear you from Mr. Gbondo, which you get for see on that perspective.
I will take off from outside Doc and I completely agree with them that you need a mining infrastructure for not only do beneficiation but value addition. Right? They don't talk a lot about beneficiation. For me, I wonder we go beyond beneficiation to value addition. Then we go into manufacturing. Then we go into industrialization. Yeah. Then we go into at least we market. Suppose for now it will go beyond just exporting the ore, just exporting the raw material into processing here. My question we are still able to answer why Sierra Leone not for be a big jewelry export or business country, but Dubai is, but New York is. As far as I don't know any gold mines within New York. I don't know any diamond mines within New York. But you get
Belgium.
now Belgium.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? But yet now that you get the Tiffany and others, now that you get them businesses then going. So why can't we get gold in this country? We get all the raw minerals. I completely agree with you. Say when you get the mining, the infrastructure for support value addition, then you get more money. You go able for diversify your economy. I think that is what we need to do, and not just for the export. I agree with the minister that where would they give a mining license to companies? Then they mine the principal mining and related minerals. Now so we put up. You understand that? Iron ore and related minerals. And we know, me go school na Maboka boy school. Yeah? I know Masumiri part. I know Usai can go the mine right now. Yeah? Now huge gold mining they go on there. Don't tell me that dirty way they pull with and say iron ore they get huge gold deposit. Geologists then will tell you say definitely the occurrences then they all they happen at the same time. You understand what I mean? So if we do beneficiation, then we also think beyond beneficiation, then we do value addition. So that when we export, if we begin export the gold chain, right? We mine with gold naya, we process naya, we manufacture the gold naya, then we export the gold. So you will find out the money they coming from all angles.
Alright, so we don't hear you from these fine gentlemen today. We delve into the mining sector and we understand waiting at the agreements that we currently do, the waivers them, the concessions them, and waiting our government in plan for establish the Mineral World Fund, and we understand and learn lots and lots from them. So till next week, we get for come with another edition back of the program Why Sunday, and we don't tell una plenty thank you, we tell una plenty thank you una join me today, and we really hope for we dey hear from una more and more next week as we dey come with another edition. We tell Mr. Gbondo thank you for taking time for come join me today, and we tell Doc thank you for joining me for yet another week of the program. Me we presents the show to una, Mina Baimba Kamara. Thank you very much.
Mining plays a strategic role in our economy, both as a source of income for our government and a major employer of our citizens. But are we truly maximizing its potential benefits?
When they assure state participation, I think it's important for the country to know the state participation in the mining sector. We know what we have. This country has so many resources. And without the mine since 1933, we exclude.
Join us this Sunday as we talk about the mining sector in Sierra Leone, the agreements, tax waivers, contribution to our economy, and what the government is doing so that Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans benefit more. True Talk. Get your facts. Get True Talk.